bravery was put to the test many times. For example, I decided to go onto battlefields during the Civil War. Sometimes I couldn't take it anymore, there were so many deaths. But I knew that if I left, there would be more deaths, so I stayed. When I was a young girl, my father raised horses. I rode his horses often with my brother David. I had 4 older siblings, Dorothy, Stephen, David, and Sally. When I turned 16, I decided to be a teacher like Dorothy and Sally once were. After 3 years of teaching, I almost lost my voice, so I had to give it up. Since I couldn't teach, I went to Washington, D.C., where I worked as an attendant with my sister Sally. Soon after, however, the Civil War started, and I decided to help the soldiers by becoming a nurse. First, I had to get permission to go onto the battlefields before I could nurse the men. When I finally got permission, I realized it would be harder than I thought. There were many wounded men after each battle. I also brought them supplies. There were many men who did not survive the battle long enough for me to nurse them back to health. I sometimes worked alongside doctors and I sometimes worked alone. But eventually the Civil War was over and I gave speeches to raise money for men who were in the war to find their families. When I almost lost my voice again, I was told to rest for 3 years. I spent that time in Geneva. While in Geneva, I learned about Red Cross, a hospital that also takes care of fires, floods, and other stuff like that. I promised I would try and bring it to America. It was a long, hard struggle. For some reason, America refused Red Cross. It took me more than a decade to convince them. Finally, the president agreed and made me the first president of Red Cross. There are some things I did in my lifetime that I had to be brave for. Everyone has to be brave at some time, whether for something big or small. When were you brave?